One of the best trial lawyers in Kansas City, Missouri is a gentleman named Lou Accurso. Lou has been a trial lawyer for many years. He has multiple million-dollar verdicts to his credit. He's tried all kinds of cases from asbestos to just general personal injury. And I asked him once what the secret was to getting a $1 million verdict. He said he'd never gotten a $1 million verdict. He said the defense lawyer had always gotten it for him. Here's what we're talking about today. We're back in the Abby Zwermer case today, and again, I need to go through a little bit of the backstory so some of the testimony today will make more sense. On January 6, 2023, while teaching first grade at Rich Neck Elementary School in Virginia, Ms. Zwermer was shot by a 6-year-old student who brought a 9mm semi-automatic pistol to the school. The bullet first passed through her left hand, rupturing bones in her index finger and thumb. Then the bullet entered her chest, and some fragments remain lodged there between her heart and her spine. Her lung collapsed as a result of the chest wound. Authorities described her injuries as life-threatening initially. She spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital, underwent multiple surgeries, and continues to face long-term physical and psychological effects from all of this. The shooter was a 6-year-old male student in the first grade who allegedly had a pattern of behavioral issues, including prior incidents of aggression. School officials had been alerted to a possible weapon in his possession earlier on in the day, but his backpack was searched and no weapon was found at that time, and that you'll find out why here in a little bit. The child was not charged, but his mother was, and she's serving time on federal and state gun charges. Yesterday, trial kicked off, and I did a video on the opening statements. After that, evidence started to come in from multiple witnesses. Apparently, the defense's approach is to blame everybody but the person who was in charge. To hear them tell it, she's pure as the driven snow. I can understand that strategy, them doing that, but I can't understand them bullying the plaintiff's witnesses. And that's my characterization, but you make your own. I'm going to show you a little bit of the direct exam on a couple of these witnesses, and then I'm going to share with you the cross-examination, and you're going to get to judge for yourself whether this fellow is making any friends with the jury. Please give me feedback on that. It would really be helpful. So with that, on we go to the video.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name for the court reporter?
Nina Sophia Farish.
And Ms. Farish, is it Dr. Farish?
Yes,
Dr. Farish, before the jury walked in, you were sworn to tell the truth, correct?
correct.
And I'm just doing that since they weren't there to watch it. Normally they're there to watch it, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Farish, can you give us a little bit of background on your current employment position?
Currently, I am the Director of Human Resources for Newport News Public Schools.
And did you serve in that same role or capacity back in 2023, specifically January of 2023?
Yes,
And as part of your role with the Newport News Public School System, did you, as a result of a shooting that occurred at Rich Neck Elementary on January 6th, perform an investigation?
yes,
And as part of that investigation, did you interview Dr. Ebony Parker?
yes.
I'm going to show you just a roadmap, which is open to public. And this is just my handiwork, just to tell you what we're going to be talking about today, okay?
Okay,
We're just going to have 2 stops. I want to talk to you first about your interview with Dr. Parker. And then I want to talk to you about the Newport News Public Schools protocols.
okay.
So, let's start with the interview of Dr. Parker. How soon after the events of January 6th do you recall conducting an interview of Dr. Parker?
From what I can recall, it was within 2 or 3 days.
And so sometime in early January still.
Yes,
And during that interview, did you ask Miss Parker whether she knew that a student had a gun on campus at Rich Neck Elementary before the shooting?
Yes, I did.
And what did she say?
If I recall correctly, she said something was reported to her that a student had a weapon.
Would it help if I were able to show you a transcript of that interview to help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Permission to approach, Your Honor. Ms. Farish, just take a moment, or Dr. Farish, excuse me, take a moment and read the initial part of the transcript and tell me if it refreshes your memory as to whether this is a transcript of your conversation with Dr. Parker.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And if you can look onto page 2, line 19 of the transcript, can you just read that portion of the transcript silently? And does that refresh your recollection as to what Dr. Parker told you about what she knew or what she was informed of?
Yes.
And what was it that she knew?
She knew that students reported that a student had a weapon in his backpack.
And as part of your continued interview of Dr. Parker, did you learn who it was that informed her that a student had a gun in his backpack?
Yes.
And who was that?
Miss Kovac.
And as part of your interview, did you gather from Dr. Parker what time Dr. Parker learned that information? And if I can help you, it's on page 4, line 13.
Yes.
And what time was that?
12:20.
And as part of the information that Dr. Parker received about a gun in a backpack, did Dr. Parker share with you whether there was a plan to address it?
As I'm reading through and recalling, when you say plan, and not recalling a plan as much as the conversation of what happened.
And that's perfectly okay.
Okay.
And so is it fair for me to say, at least based upon the reports from Dr. Parker in that initial interview, she did not convey that she had formulated a plan to address it?
Correct.
The good doctor then went on to talk about some of the policies and that sort of thing.
What's been pre-marked, that means there's a little sticker at the bottom, and the number there is number 22. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there's a heading, or the title of that document is what, as best as you can tell? I know it's in big letters, but I'm not supposed to say it myself.
The whole cover or just what the document is?
The whole cover, please.
Newport News Public Schools, Smart Safe Schools, Rich Neck Elementary, 2022-2023, Multi-Hazard Crisis and Elementary Management Plan.
Your Honor, I would object to the relevance of this line of questioning based on my prior motion in limine. I would incorporate my prior arguments, and to the extent that the court admits this evidence, I am seeking cautionary instructions to the jury, admonishing them that the written protocols do not set the standard of care or establish the existence of a legal duty in this case.
So I previously ruled on the motion. Your objection is noted, and then we'll allow the instruction. I believe that was my ruling.
Your Honor, we hadn't yet discussed what the substance of an instruction might
Correct.
be, and I just flagged that because we disagree with some of the statements that were made by counsel.
Correct. Well, I mean, we have to decide that at the end. Yeah,
yes,
at the
Judge.
end. We'll work that out in instructions.
The policy document she was reading from said exactly what the plaintiffs had said from the very beginning, that if you have a threat that is potentially credible, you are to assume that it is credible until proven otherwise and act accordingly. And of course, that's exactly what Ms. Parker or Dr. Parker did not do. What was funny about this was instead of cross-examining this witness, he just asked her to be subject to recall. perhaps suggesting that he has other testimony that he wants to get into during his case in chief. But all of the objections make it look like he was pretty scared of what she was going to testify about.
May proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and state your full name for the court reporter, please.
John Robert Sims.
And Mr. Sims, what do you do for work?
I am the music teacher at Rich Neck.
And back in January of 2023, what did you do for work then?
I was the music teacher at Rich Neck.
And
The acoustics are really bad. Can you speak up a little?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
and were you at work at Rich Neck Elementary on January 6, 2023?
Yes, I was.
I'm going to show you if we can publish the FIVA. On that day, Mr. Sims, did there come a time where you spoke with Dr. Parker about concerns that were being shared in the school?
Yes.
And how many times do you recall having a conversation or being present for a conversation with Dr. Parker?
Twice.
So what I want to do is I want to talk about the first conversation, and then I want to talk about the second conversation separately, okay?
Okay.
So the first conversation. Do you recall when approximately during that day that happened?
Time-wise,
Yes.
probably between 11 and 12.
And when you say probably between 11 and 12, is there something that was going on? Or in other words, was there recess before, recess after, lunch before, lunch after that gives you a framework of when it might have been?
I don't know about the recess schedule, but I was sitting at the registrar's desk to cover the phones.
So you said approximately 11 to 12, is that correct?
Correct.
And from 11 to 12, when you were sitting at the registrar's desk, was there a conversation that you had that triggered or resulted in you then going to speak with Dr. Parker?
Yes.
And who was that conversation with?
Mrs. West,
And who is Mrs. West?
one of the first grade teachers.
And what did Miss West tell you that led you to actually go to have a conversation with Dr. Parker?
She asked about the boy being searched.
And when we say boy, we're going to be using initials, so we'll say JT.
Okay.
Is that the boy that you're referencing?
Yes.
And what is it that Miss West asked about the boy being searched?
To my recollection, I believe she asked if he was searched.
And was why in the course of that conversation did you feel like it was right for you to then go to Dr. Parker next?
She asked me to ask Dr. Parker.
And so did you leave the registrar's desk then to go have a conversation with Dr. Parker?
Yes.
And do you recall what you might have said to Dr. Parker? Even if it's not verbatim, but
Yeah.
what the communication was.
I believe I relayed the message from Mrs. West asking if he had been searched.
And at that time, did you have any information or knowledge about why there was a question of the boy being searched?
Not to my knowledge, other than what Mrs. West had offered up.
This is what we would call a necessary but unfriendly witness, meaning the key things that he should have a memory of, he probably does have a memory of or may have a memory of, he's just not willing to say them. And so he claims a loss of recollection. You can usually tell when they say, not to my recollection. In other words, he's not saying it didn't happen, he's just saying he doesn't recall it. And we'll get some of this testimony from Ms. West directly here in just a moment. But in this particular instance, he can't remember anything. But suddenly, on cross-examination, his memory improves. Listen.
Jennifer West is a first grade teacher, right?
Correct.
She didn't call you, right? Just to be clear,
Correct.
I know that sounds like a dumb question, but you called her, right?
Yes.
Any question in your mind about that?
No.
And when you called her, you weren't calling her to discuss a weapon, right?
Correct.
At that stage, you had no knowledge that there was a suspected weapon on the premises, did you?
Not to my recollection, no.
The first time you heard any information that there's a suspected weapon on the premises of that school was when you spoke to Ms. West, right?
I believe so, yes.
And when you went into that conversation initially, that was not your plan to have a discussion about there's a suspected weapon, obviously.
Right.
Right? You were initially asking her, hey, there's 2 students here in the classroom, right?
Yes.
I believe they're your students, right?
Yes.
They got in trouble, right?
Yes.
So can they go back to class now?
Correct.
And she responded,
They can go back to class.
they could go back to class.
Mm.
And then she says, oh, by the way, right? Oh, by the way, there's some more information. Would you agree?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
She says, oh, by the way, and your testimony today was that she let you know that there was a child with a suspected weapon in his possession, right?
Yes.
But you don't remember exactly what she said, right?
Correct.
It's been like 3 years and it's close to that, right?
Correct.
If you had to write down in detail, verbatim, what she conveyed to you, you would not be able to do that, right?
Correct.
But you testified that once you received that information, she asked you to share it with Dr. Parker, right?
Correct.
And Dr. Parker, she was in the main office, right?
She was in her office.
Her office, which is part of the main office, correct?
Yes.
The main communal space, right?
Yes.
Where there's all this traffic, right?
Yes.
Right? And it's not like you're right next to each other. It is close quarters, but she's about like 20 feet away or so. Is that a fair estimate?
Probably, yes.
Right? And so to better estimate that, to go and talk with her, you don't just like yell across the room at her, right? You'd have to get up and talk to her, right?
Not necessarily, because we were in eyesight
You had direct eye line vision.
from the desk I was sitting at.
Okay. And she was stationed at her computer, right?
Yes.
And at the time that this was going on, she was involved in annual testing, right? That's why she was in the office.
Objection, same objection. Sustain that. You can lay foundation for that.
I understand, Judge.
All right.
At the time that you were in the office with Dr. Parker, did she appear to be focused on her duties? Did
Yes.
she appear to be focused on her responsibilities as a principal working there?
Yes.
And also, you've testified that you shared some information with Dr. Parker. You can't tell anyone in this court, right, verbatim, what you told Dr. Parker, right?
Correct.
This is your ballpark estimate of your recollection of what you told her, right?
Correct.
3 years later, right?
Yes.
You've also testified that there was a second call, right?
Yes.
So, first call, you called Ms. West, initial discussion about the children and the discipline. And she says, by the way, here's some information about a potential firearm on the campus, right?
Yes.
When you received that information, you spoke to Dr. Parker, right?
Yes.
After you spoke with Dr. Parker, you've testified that her response was that the backpack had been searched, right?
Yes.
And then you called Ms. West and you told her that. You said Dr. Parker responded, the backpack has been searched.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what this guy is doing here because basically he just underlined the case against the doctor. She knew there was a backpack that had a gun. She supposedly said it was searched, wasn't found, and she's not doing any more about it. She's not going to search the person of the boy. And for whatever reason, that did not come through what was being said there, but from Ms. West, we'll find out later that she said they weren't going to search the person of the boy, which doesn't make any sense if, in fact, there is a gun. And when the testimony comes in, you would see why. But in his cross, he went just a little bit too far because he got out the staff manual and started asking about duties and responsibilities. And then this exchange occurred.
Mr. Sims, I'm handing you the document, or I guess I just handed you a document that says Rich Neck Elementary School 2022-2023 staff handbook. Do you see that?
Yes.
Was this the staff handbook for you all at Rich Neck for that calendar year?
Yes.
And that included January of 2023.
Yes.
And earlier you were asked about questions as it relates to duties and responsibilities. Do you recall whether this document specifically discusses responsibilities of a school administrator, that is, assistant principal, when it has to do with classroom management and safety? You can answer. Do you recall, without looking at it, whether it addresses that topic?
Not specifically.
If you would flip to, there's a little red number at the bottom that says 9074. You go to that page. Does that refresh your recollection as to a portion of this staff handbook that addresses classroom management and safety?
Yes.
And do you recall, without looking at it, I know it's right in front of you, but do you recall, without looking at it, whether there are tiered behaviors within the handbook?
Yes.
Your Honor, I object at this stage in this line of questioning. I don't see how this is assisting to try finder of fact. I would ask for the proper from opposing counsel. What is the relevance of this?
Yeah, how does this go towards anything that was brought up in cross-examination?
Your Honor, he asked about responsibilities. The tiers within the handbook delineate responsibilities of administrators and staff members in situations of classroom safety. It's been the position of the defendants, both in cross so far and in opening statement, that there was responsibilities shared amongst individuals, and there's a handbook applicable to their relationships that tell us what their responsibilities were. He didn't ask he asked the question about duties and responsibilities, and so we get to explore what duties and responsibilities were being attended to by Dr. Parker.
I'm going to overrule it. The door has been opened in cross-examination. Objection noted. Go ahead.
And based upon this staff handbook, there's level 3 behaviors. True?
Yes.
And what does it say about level 3 behaviors, as best as you recall? And if you need to refresh your recollection by looking at it, that's okay.
Level 3 behaviors are reported to school security and administration.
And is there a description is there a section that talks about student behaviors specific that are level 3 behaviors?
Yes.
And is there a student behavior within the handbook that specifically applies to a circumstance we're talking about here today?
Yes.
And what does it say?
Your Honor, I believe at this stage, this is lack of foundation for the basis of this witness's knowledge. It sounds like he doesn't have any independent recollection of this document. He's just being asked to read from this document itself. To the extent that there was an argument about opening the door, I still stand on my prior objection. It's a discrete issue. I mean, this is his bare recital by a fact witness of what is written in internal policy. It's no bearing on proceeding to. This has no bearing in this case. I would object on the grounds of relevance as well as 243 balancing, because this is going to invite the jury to render its verdict based on an improper basis that has no relevance to collateral matter.
Response to relevance objection now?
Your Honor, I believe the foundation was just laid with the witness that first, this is a staff handbook that applied in January of 2023. He was able to identify it as a staff handbook that applied in January 2023. And when asked whether there's a level 3 tiered behavior that specifically is pertinent to the issue here, he says, yes, it's within the handbook itself. We've laid the appropriate foundation. It's certainly relevant to the issues in the case, especially in the circumstance in which the argument's been posed to the jury, that this is a case about indifference and not inadequacy. And so what the individual knew, the defendant knew about their responsibilities and how to balance and weigh those responsibilities is certainly pertinent. And in light of the fact that they've crossed this individual on the fact that she was tending to her responsibilities on that day, it's relevant for us to address what other responsibilities she agreed and promised to keep.
Overruled on foundation, relevance. I think those were the two latest ones. Go ahead.
And so the information that came in previously from Dr. Farish about what they're supposed to do, treated credibly, comes in yet again from a staff member who is lower on the totem pole than Dr. Parker, and obviously everybody is charged with knowledge of that document. And so at this point, they are making the case for essentially gross negligence, for knowing there's a problem and ignoring it. In some respects, it's like the hypothetical that they use in involuntary manslaughter cases, where you shoot into a moving train. Basically, this lady is letting a kid with a gun roam around the campus, and something bad is more likely than not to happen, but she apparently doesn't want to do anything about it. I don't understand why. Perhaps we'll find that out. I'm going to do another video shortly after this one so that we can have some additional testimony, and I will be looking at the testimony from today, this evening, and I'll try to get something out early tomorrow morning on some of that. Again, very interesting case here, and even though it is a negligence case, some of the principles, particularly the evidentiary principles, are important. And I would point out that the defense attorney here knows his objections very well. He's making some good objections, they're just not quite good enough. So he is a very knowledgeable lawyer, I have to give him that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today. If you have the opportunity today, try to do one kind thing to help somebody else. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke, get them a cup of coffee, anything that makes their day better. That would be a way to help make the world a better place. Because after all, isn't that what we're all after? Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing you that right up there.